Welcome to the college football pregame here on CBS Sports HQ, delivered by Papa John's. I'm Jeremy St. Louis. We have passed the midway point of the college football season, and if every game didn't have meaning before, every game certainly has some meaning now. We get 5 ranked games this week, which means we have plenty of major storylines to follow.
Week 7 in college football was absolutely wild. So with the reshuffling of the rankings and race to the playoff in full gear, what are some of the biggest storylines in Week 8? The Syracuse Orange is 6-0 for the first time since 1987 and will have their biggest game in quite some time as they head to Death Valley to take on the Clemson Tigers in an ACC showdown.
This is 2 good football teams. A lot at stake in this game. This is a huge matchup for both teams.
There's a top 10 battle in the Pac-12 with UCLA heading to Eugene to take on the Oregon Ducks. It's the first time the Bruins have been in the top 10 in the Chip Kelly era. And Kelly will have to go into his old stomping grounds to keep the Bruins' perfect season alive.
It's always special going back there. It's a special place in my life. I'm not playing the game, so we're totally focused.
The Texas Longhorns have looked like a completely different team with Quinn Ewers back as their starting quarterback. And the Longhorns will look for a 4th consecutive win as they take on Oklahoma State in Stillwater.
This week we're going to play a very good team on the road. Another great challenge for us this week. Excited for our guys.
Elsewhere in the Big 12, the TCU Horned Frogs remain the lone unbeaten team. And after their thrilling comeback win against Oklahoma State, they'll have another Big Ten Saturday.
Just a fun group to be around. They love playing football. They really enjoy playing for each other.
And the SEC on CBS goes down in Baton Rouge with the Ole Miss Rebels taking on LSU. It's certainly a big spot for both head coaches, with Brian Kelly trying to return the Tigers to national relevance and Lane Kiffin trying to stay undefeated and keep the Rebels' playoff hopes alive and well.
This will be a real atmosphere and crowd noise for our guys to go into, and with that's a lot of challenges of just staying focused and doing things really well.
With key conference matchups all across college football, the margin for error is shrinking for the playoff hopefuls, who will seize the moment Saturday. We could be in for another epic day of college football.
Here are some of the notable games this afternoon. The Rebels go to Death Valley for their 111th meeting with LSU. That is our CBS game of the week. You see the Tigers sitting as 1.5-point favorites. Cowboys looking to avoid going from undefeated to a 2-loss team in consecutive weeks as they take on Texas at home. The Longhorns come in as 6-point favorites there. And the Ducks have won 3 of their last 4 against top 10 teams as they welcome number 9 UCLA, sitting as 6.5-point favorites. 3:30 Eastern kickoff for that one. Let's dive into this with some winning ingredients delivered by Papa John's. And to provide those winning ingredients, we now welcome 2 of our own winners in Tom Fornelli and Bryant McFadden. Gentlemen, Lane Kiffin and the Rebels looking to start 8-0 for the first time in 6 decades. B-Mac, I'll start with you here. Give us your winning ingredients for this week's SEC Game of the Week on CBS.
For the team that outrushes the other will win the ball game offensively. And that has been the story for the Rebels the entire season. The consistency in the ground and pound attack. They're first in the SEC in rushing per ball game, around 271 yards. And because of that success in running the football in totality, in total offense, they've been doing some outstanding numbers, 4th in the SEC. So that is the winning ingredient for me. I believe the team that outrushes the other will win.
Tom, what about for you? What's the winning ingredient here for you?
And it sounds cliche, but you got to take care of the football. When I look at both of these teams, they are very evenly matched. I think this is something of a coin flip game, and I think it's one of those games that's going to come down to who takes care of the football. A turnover could be the deciding factor here. I think LSU at home has a nice home field advantage, but this is an Ole Miss team. B-Mac talked about it just now. Ole Miss is able to run the ball very well, but they're also able to move the ball through the air. They are well balanced, and when I just look at how they match up, there's not really a clear advantage for anybody in this one. So like I said, it's going to come down to, can you hold on to the football? Can you finish drives? If you don't, you're going to lose this game.
Last time the Rebels started 8-0, they finished 10-0, won the Sugar Bowl, and had a share of the national championship. When you mentioned that happened 6 decades ago. Okay, the line here has shifted. I mean, it was 1 earlier this morning. Now it's 1.5, favoring LSU. So, I mean, essentially this game is a pick-em with the total sitting at 64 and a hook. So, Tom, what's your play on the game here?
Yeah, like I just talked about, I think this game is a coin flip. Like, I think these are two very evenly matched teams. I think LSU last week looked phenomenal on offense, was able to, I think they scored on 7 or 8 consecutive drives against that Florida defense. And I think that ever since that that season opening loss to Florida State, this is a team that's been getting a little bit better each and every week. But I also think this Ole Miss team is very good, and they're undefeated for a reason. They play very sound football on offense. They can beat you on the ground, they can beat you in the air, and they play good defense. So they're incredibly balanced. But in a coin flip like this one, like with a spread this small, I like Ole Miss. I'm just going to take them on the money line because I'm getting plus odds on a 50-50 proposition in my eyes, and I think the Rebels have more balance. Whereas when I look at LSU, I know they can run the ball, but if they get behind and are put into a situation where they have to pass, I don't have as much confidence in them being able to do it as I do if Ole Miss has to in the same situation. So I'm going to go with the Rebels.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Tom. I think this will be a close scoring type of affair for both teams. I think we can see anywhere between 27 to 23, 24, something like that. And when you talk about seeing a close-knit type ball game, give me the team that's getting points. Give me the team that's been more consistent on the offensive end. They have so many different ways of beating you offensively for the Rebels. And looking at LSU, they've won ball games, but they put a lot of pressure on the quarterback in Jaden Daniels. He's been called to do so much for them to be successful and productive in moving the chains and putting points on the scoreboard. That will be a tall task ask of Daniels in today's matchup. So give me the Rebels. And one thing I know about football, especially college football, teams that can run the football well, they travel. That success tends to travel. I think that will be the calling card for the Rebels in today's matchup.
Yeah, Ole Miss ran the ball wild last week, and of course both men taking them here in this one against LSU. LSU losing their last home game to Tennessee. They're looking to avoid consecutive home losses for just the second time in 21 years. They've beaten the Rebels 6 times in a row, and as they go for 7, you'll be able to see that game live on CBS.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.